Thank you for tuning in. This is Watch Eric. Today's video is going to be on the Omega Speedmaster. So the first thing I would like to point out is that usually you guys are used to me doing reviews on more exotic and expensive higher end brands. But that doesn't mean that I don't like watches, period. I'm a watch guy at heart, and I don't really understand people that don't like watches at all. So if you like watches, that's already a plus. But the Omega Speedmaster is that one Omega that's always caught my attention. It's just always been that chronograph that's gotten my attention since I was a little kid. I mean, for God's sakes, it was the first watch on the moon. How more iconic than that can it get? But the good thing about this watch that I like is that it's one of the best bang for your buck. I just don't see another watch that for that kind of money, you can get so much in one case. Most of the Omega Speedmasters come with the 1861 movement, which is also extremely accurate. They really know what they're doing with that movement. And interesting enough, the one that I personally like the best, which is the one I brought here, has the clear case back. This one actually brings the 1863 movement, which for whatever reason tends to not be so accurate. Another thing I want to point out about accuracy is that I am not so much of an accuracy nut, but I don't want to be wearing a watch and have the wrong time or having to be adjusting it all the time. But there are certain people that wear watches and will literally tell you it's delaying 2 seconds in 24 hours. I am not that type of guy. I just want it to work right. However, I do respect the fact that some of these watches are so accurate that they don't have those problems. The Omega Speedmaster has literally a cult following. I mean, the following for this watch is so strong, it's pretty remarkable. It debuted in 1957 and there's been several variations of it. My personal favorite of this watch is the very traditional one, the one that looks just like this. I personally prefer the clear case back. For example, in a Rolex Daytona, I don't really care too much to see the movement. Probably because it's automatic and you see the rotor and all that. But this one being manual wound, I really like to see the inner workings of a manual wound movement. It just has that much more interesting things to look at. So this particular version that I have in my hand actually is one of my friends, and I'm thinking that I kind of want one myself. Some of the specs are that the case is 42 millimeters, made in stainless steel. The bezel has an aluminum insert, and the crystal is Hesalite, a form of plastic. The trade-off with that type of crystal is, one, it's very impact resistant, but the trade-off is that it scratches easily. That's the one thing about these watches that, for me, I don't know, I can't really deal with crystals being scratched that much, so it's kind of one of those things that will mess with me. Nothing better than have a nice brand new crystal to complete the whole look of the watch. Let me tell you, for 42 millimeters, the watch wears really good. You know, you would think that it being 2 millimeters bigger than a Daytona, it would be massive, but I don't really feel that it's that much bigger than my Daytona. Yes, of course, it's bigger, but I don't feel like it's huge. They made a variation of this watch where they made it smaller, which is not too bad. It's actually a good looking watch as well for somebody that maybe perhaps doesn't want it so big or the wrist is not so big. But for me, my choice is the 42 millimeter. Some of the features of this watch that people tend to complain about is, one, you have to manually wind it, and for some reason I don't understand why some people can't accept that, you know. Some of the most complicated and expensive watches in the world, including tourbillons and grand complications, are manual wound. For me, it's part of the hobby. I enjoy setting my time and I enjoy winding it. But some people don't like that. So if you're gonna have a Speedmaster like this one, you're gonna have to manual wind it. And another problem is the crown is a little bit short. I think if the crown would have been 1 millimeter more, or even way less than that, it'd be a little bit easier to access. I, for one, don't have a problem accessing it to wind it, but I can understand where somebody's hands maybe might be a bit bigger or fatter. They can't get in there and get a good grip on the crown to wind it. And the last thing that people don't like too much about this watch is that it doesn't have a lot of water resistance. But let's face it, what chrono is really meant for the water? Usually when watches have buttons on the side of the case, that always compromises the integrity of the watch being watertight. So that doesn't really bother me, because for me this is more of a driving watch or something of that nature. So I've never seen any chrono really as a watch for the water. So my video producer actually asked me on the way over here, what makes it comparable to the Daytona that you're wearing? I pretty much answered just that it's a chrono, because I don't really see much comparison. They're total different designs, total different cases, bracelets, everything about it is different, even the heritage. The fact that it's a chrono, and let's just face it, almost all chronos have a similar dial layout, that's about all that I can compare it to. I just see them like two total different watches with a total different pedigree. So to conclude my true feelings about the Omega Speedmaster, or the Omega Speedy like people call it, is that I just don't see that there's a better watch that you can get more bang for your buck. Whether you're already an established collector like me that personally wants one now, you can get a great chrono at a great price point, the Omega Speedmaster is the one. I just don't see one that can be better. You have tradition, you have a strong following, they're easy to sell the day you want to sell it, and they hold value over time. It's a good watch overall, and for me it's a win-win. Me personally, the one that I want, I'm kind of digging the ones that are a bit more in the vintage range. I kind of like the whole look of it with a little bit of the patina dial and all that. That's the one that I want. I don't know enough of it yet to find the right one, because I gotta do my homework. Because the thing about these watches is you can get a current model like this one right here that's a 2004, will run you about $4,000 to $5,000. But then when you jump over to the vintage, they jump all of a sudden to $15,000. So I gotta do a little bit of research and find out which is the one. But I'm looking to get one in my collection. So for the Omega Speedmaster, they make a ton of different editions, man. There's some that I don't really like too much, but there's a lot of really nice ones. But to me, the bread and butter one is the traditional one like this. You can wear it on the bracelet, you could put it on a NATO strap, you could put it on a suede strap as well. It's a good looking watch at a great price. I know I said it before, but it's really the way I feel about it. So feel free to leave me a comment below how you feel about the Omega Speedmaster. And if you like this video, please like and share. Also, subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to follow me on my new TikTok account, watch.eric, where I'm gonna be posting watch-related videos every day.